Hello y'all, I'm back again for another video, and this video is going to be about unloving children. And I thought about this video because, for one, yesterday was Mother's Day, and of course that's considered a holiday. Every day should be Mother's Day and Father's Day, especially for parents that are actively doing the job. However, a lot of parents suffer. They have horrible relationships with their children. They have children that cuss them out and stuff like that. And a lot of times they're learning this behavior from older siblings. However, any child that really loves you for real and that is a loving child in general towards their parents, this is just a behavior that they won't do. You know, you have children that, it happens once or twice, maybe through a phone conversation or something of that sort. But these are just unloving children that do this. And so a lot of parents, they're getting drained financially over unloving children. They're paying high phone bills, buying them 2 to 3 pairs of shoes at a time. They're doing a lot for someone that is unloving and pretty much does not love them. And so that's one of the hardest things sometimes about being a mother or a father, is recognizing that. And I'm one of those type of people. I just look at people's behavior, right? Oh, and another sign of unloving children, they don't want to do something as simple as take the garbage out for you. And a lot of times you've been like the mother and father for the child. You're not perfect, but my goodness, this is just the garbage bag that you need to take out for your mother or father. And a lot of times grandparents are treated this way too. Unloving children, whether they be boys or girls, they can treat their grandparents like this too. They can treat uncles and aunts like this. But that's the bottom line. They're just unloving children. However, I believe through a correct upbringing, I believe that a lot of these children can be helped. And a lot of times it's anger management, y'all. The child needs anger management. However, try your best to work with these kind of children, because the root of it, most of the time, I'm going to tell you the secret about the unloving children, especially when they're the youngest in the family or the middle child or something like that. This is the secret to it. If you notice, okay, the unloving children, they're kind of good 80% of the time, but then you may notice, oh, did he or she cuss around me? No, they didn't. Oh no, that's disrespectful. And you notice that they wasn't really like that before, years ago. And so sometimes they grow up and they come in their teenage years. So what it is this. This is the influence of the toxic, narcissistic, or children that are psychopaths that are their siblings, big brothers and sisters. So what you got to realize is this is how bad company corrupts your children. So the main thing that needs to be done in these cases, a lot of times, if the child is just unloving for that minute or so, but like I said, they're 80% loving most of the time, you just got to make sure. And if the child is really loving in their heart and soul, they won't want to hang around toxic peers, even if it's their own siblings. So in these cases, make it supervised. You gotta, at some point, these psychopathic siblings, whether they be their big brothers or big sisters, don't mean them no good. They teach them how to steal. They teach them how to talk crap to their mom. Because see, the younger, what you think is unloving children, they're watching their older siblings go off on the wrong track and act like this. And so, even though the younger child may be loving, they're behaving unloving sometimes because of that toxic big brother or sister. And that big brother or sister doesn't always have to be somebody that lived in the home. However, if it's the other way around, where the unloving child is acting out and bad 80% of the time, and yes, I'm going to call them bad. People say don't call kids bad. Yes, you can. If they're acting bad and you can't link it to an environmental thing, like they don't have nobody that's beating on them or anything like that, they're not really a true abuse victim, and they're acting bad 80% of the time and good only 20% of the time, that's legitimately an unloving child. That's legitimately a dangerous child. However, in the other example I brought up, where the child is only unloving 20% of the time and they're good 80% of the time, that child can be helped, and that child actually does love you. So that's not like an unloving child, but you got to know what an unloving child is. When you got somebody that's cussing you out 80% of the time, that's an unloving child. And the best of us can have them. You just because you dedicated your life to your children and stuff like that, and paid them all that money for them to go to good schools, and adored them and fought for them in court and wanted to have them at home with you as much as possible. For dads and moms, you just tried your best. You paid the best lawyers. You just did what you could do. But they grow up and they don't have nothing to say to you. They're estranged children. They just have no contact with you. That's an unloving child. And now they're fully grown. They over 20 years old. They 18 and over. Those are just unloving children. However, when you got that 80% good one and that 20% and they still young and they're in their teen years or whatever, you actually got a loving child. So hopefully this helps you to understand what to consider unloving. Because a lot of people, a lot of women on Mother's Day yesterday dealt with it. They sat by the phone waiting on these unloving children to call them instead of just moving on with their life. Because see, that's not what's told to mothers. You know, it's painted like it's just all beautiful. Nobody really tells you before you become a mother, you know, by the way, you might give birth to this child and love him or her so much. And by the way, they're going to not love you and not talk to you till you die. Oh, by the way, they're not coming to your funeral too. They don't want to tell you the real story. They just painted it like, oh, look at this beautiful baby. That same beautiful baby can grow up and just hate you, not talk to you, block you, and just totally despise you. And it's not always because you're a bad person. It's just an unloving child. Going back to biblical references, these are called disobedient children. It also says that disobedient children will not live all their days. So that means even if they don't physically die early or before you die, they won't live all their days. They won't live a happy, joyful life in the way that you do. So these are unloving children. I'm working hard to learn to have a better relationship with loving children, okay? Invest your time in the loving children. That goes back to the one that's 80% good, 20% a little off track, and that's mainly because you got to be honest. Don't blame it all on the child. Who was around them? How they gonna be just loving 100% of the time when they got an older brother or sister that's a freaking psychopath, that's bringing corruption to the home? So when that child has been influenced by that, and you think it's an unloving child, or this loving child is showing unloving behaviors, you got to remember what happened when the peer pressure started, and just give them time. They'll work it out. Who knows? One of my loving or unloving children may be listening to this video and decide to get themselves together. That's how I keep things in order in the household, y'all. I just start doing a video, and then somebody peeks their head up and they just know I'm talking about them, y'all. Y'all, I just try to do some fun times around here. So, and then guess what? When I get off this video, this particular child may become a loving child 100% of the time, right? So just keep this in mind. And for parents that have estranged children, you know, it's not the child that's in the house that really is your real road dog, that got your back, that's peeking their head up listening to this video. It's not that child. You got these other estranged children. You know, a lot of times it's been through divorces or really bad breakups. Maybe y'all wasn't married. Just let them go. They're estranged children. Look up videos on that. It doesn't matter that you want to have a relationship, but they don't. Whichever party is deciding not to have the relationship, at the end of the day, it equals an estranged children relationship. Notice the word in estranged, stranger. Okay? So, in those kind of cases, just pray for them and be more silent. You don't really have too much to say about them. They're not around. They're estranged. They're like non-existent. At some point, it may feel like you didn't even really have these kids. At some point, it's going to feel like these are not your children. Because loving children don't torture their parents, y'all. Not emotionally or physically. These are not children that really love the Lord neither. These are just people to you. I mean, you got to move on with your life. And a lot of times, too much focus goes on these estranged, unloving children that just won't talk to you at all. And you know, people say, well, in a lot of cases, well, their psychopathic mother or father had them to be like that. Stop making that excuse. These people are over 20 years old now, y'all. For a lot of y'all, this is how it's gonna work. They grown. You can't keep blaming their behaviors on their mother or father. So definitely put estranged children in the category of unloving children. And that's just saying it nicely. I'm just giving you a nice way to say it. If you want to say it another way, those are evil and wicked children. However, I am trying to say it the most presentable way, because we just had Mother's Day yesterday. And just to kind of share the experience. And if you just say, okay, the children are unloving, you can be in a no contact and be okay with it, and you're still implementing the word love in the word unloving. So you're not the problem, the children are. Because what the parent doesn't want to do is become wicked and hateful like the estranged and unloving children. So this is just my opinion. Next Mother's Day, or if y'all people that really get into holidays, or even if you're not in the holidays, stop waiting on calls from unloving children. Let them go. At some point, be grateful they ain't calling. And when unloving children, a lot of times they're going to appear 10, 20 years later. They just want to get in your business and find out what you're doing with your life. Don't be bringing them in your house. Meet them out for lunch or something like that. Because all they're going to do, they're unloving children. So they're going to become estranged again. They just going to disappear on you. That's usually what happens. So then what happens is you got to go through this whole abuse cycle again. You're going to bring somebody back. It's no different than bringing an ex-husband or wife back, giving them a chance, and they dump you and discard you again. It hurts even more when your children do that. So with unloving children, in my opinion, just the advice I'm going to give y'all to protect you, don't ever have the same affection for them no more. Okay? You're never to have the same bond with them like you once had. They're unloving children. You got to recognize them as that. So when they come back 5, 10, 15, 20 years later, they're fake. That's not love. It's just they coming back with a fake spirit. And a lot of parents, they just go to their deaths miserable because they've accepted the unloving child back and they just came back to finish you off emotionally. They just came back. A lot of times they come back to rob their parents. They're coming back for an inheritance. Some property was left. That's it. They're unloving children. And in these cases, you need to disown them through legal proceedings. Unloving children should not have your furniture, your clothes, your jewelry, your property, anything in your savings account, your vehicle. Unloving children don't get a freaking dime. If you've given an unloving child $5, you're tripping. An inheritance is not just left just because they're your biological child. You leave children stuff based on love. They were a loving child. Unloving children don't get nothing. If you want to leave something to the grandkids, if they have grandkids, put it in a trust account for the child, for the grandchild when the grandchild gets 18. Don't put any of it in their mama or their daddy's pocket because they're unloving children. You shouldn't be taking up too much time with them. You just shouldn't. That's why so many parents are getting killed. They're getting left for dead by their own unloving children because they don't want to recognize them as unloving children. So this is just my thoughts on this. You can leave a comment on your opinion of this. So I hope this made sense. Please like, share, and subscribe. I've been on this bike almost 19 minutes, y'all. I appreciate y'all. And let your children hear this video. It might teach them something. Share this video with your kids. Maybe it'll make them have some remorse and a conscience. And maybe they may say, you know what? I'm being an unloving child. And I want to treat my parents better because I appreciate them and love them. And I want to make a change today to treat my parents better. So let them hear the video. Teenagers listen to my videos sometimes. They just do. So again, I love y'all so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. I want to leave a super thank you to my regular viewers. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. I got my coffee in hand, y'all, too. So I apologize for stuttering because I just stuttered, but that's okay. That's genuine a video. One thing I am not, and I will never be, ever, and I'm so happy not to be it. Guess what it is? I'll never be perfect. I'm going to stutter sometimes. I'm going to say a word wrong. I'm going to say a word, but I meant to say something else. As an empath, I love being imperfect because guess what? I'm always striving to be better. If I'm just perfect at everything, how am I gonna get better? I'm not no Lord, so I'm never gonna be perfect. And keep this in mind, unloving children are not striving for perfection. They're striving for hate, dominance, and attention. That's it. The wrong attention. But the right attention is giving them no attention. Estranged children that are choosing to be estranged from you, write them off. They're a loss. They're a lost cause to you now. Don't worry about them no more. Don't ever expect anything from them, whether it be on Mother's Day or any other day that's not Mother's Day. And then that way, the loving children can get more attention. And no, that's not showing favoritism. It ain't nobody to show favoritism over if the unloving children are in no contact. That's not favoritism. That's moving on with your life. So this is my perspective. And like I said, let your children, whether they be teenagers, youth, or adults, let them hear this. It might motivate an empathetic child to be more loving. Because if a child, no matter how old they are, is not a narcissist and they was to hear this video, it's going to motivate them to be closer to you. Because maybe they can look at it different and say, am I in the 80% good category and the 20% bad? Or am I vice versa? 80% bad and only 20% good. Which one am I? It'll give them something to think about. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. Please leave a comment. And I want to leave a super, super thank you to my regular viewers and people that leave comments. Thank you. Bye.